I will be kind of telling you a story, or it might be interesting to a lot of you. I'll be talking about AI for web and web for AI. Right? It's a mutual relationship which I'm going to talk about. Cool. So a little about me. I'm Anubhav Singh. I do a few things here and there. I'm a developer student club lead. So you have been hearing about this term since the morning. How many of you know what a DSC is? What a developer student club is? Raise your hands high. वो शर्म की बात नहीं है. Just one of you. Okay. So you know what a GDC is, right? You're in a GDC event right now. You understand what a GDC is. What a DSC is? It's a GDC inside a college campus. Right? Think of it in that way. आप एक GDC को उठा के just for students कर दो and put it in a campus and that becomes your DSC. So I lead one such community. There are over 200 all over India and it's available in multiple regions all across the globe and it's also expanding right now. So DSC is a huge network of these clubs which run within colleges and it involves a lot of amazing people, right? So I'm a DSC lead. Herschel here is a DSC lead. So you know what? Like when you come into DSC, you get a chance to grow within the college campus, which isn't available to the other students, right? So if you want to form a DSC in your college campus, if you do not have it, then there was a website link displayed in Lakshaya's slides. So you can also contact me about how you can create a DSC club at your college, how you can start one. And yeah, I might even be able to give you some tips on how to run one, right? So that's about me being a DSC lead. Cool. Why the topic? Can anyone guess why am I, talking about such a weird topic? You might not have heard it before. How many of you were at DevFest Kolkata by any chance? Okay, that's a good number. So that's the answer, right? Because no one was talking about it. Everyone has seen that happen, but no one was actually talking about it in settings like these. People knew whenever they want some data, whenever they want some data set, they go to the internet, they search for it, they download it, right? Whenever you want data, the first thing that you do is search for it, right? But no one was saying that these things are growing together. Whenever you need data, you search for it. And after searching for the data, what you do out of it, you use it to come up with applications. That application might have a backend running on a website, right? So the web is growing and AI is going along with it. Now let's explore how they actually started. So the roots of web and AI. Now they were mutually, quite exclusive when they started. Let's see how. So when you read this passage, this is actually the starting of a particular technology. When you read this passage, there's a word called tele-electroscope. Anyone heard of it? Tele-electroscope. So I'll give you a hint. Tele-electroscope is what went forward to become a phone. The first landline phone. Right? And any guesses when this was published? It was a piece of fiction by Mark Twain in 1904. It was a piece of fiction, right? So Mark Twain was imagining a tele-electroscope which would allow limitless and distance telephone and made the globe visible, kept everyone connected. That was 1904. Today we have it in our pockets, right? That's how we started with the concept of network. And from there sprang up the internet, right? Cool. So what do you think this is? There are 3 images here and I made some arrows and round dashes. So So there's a lady there, there's an island, and there's this scary looking guy. Any guesses what this could be? I'm actually talking Greek mythology here. So that lady there, her name is Europa, right? So she's a princess, and her father wants to protect her, like every father. Yeah. So she lives on this island of Crete, and she lives there alone. Like there are not many people there, and a lot of suitors try to come to that island to woo her and marry her. Right. So to avoid these people, what her father did, he created an automaton named Talos. So Talos was the first mention of automaton in any text that we have in record. This Talos was a robot made of bronze, and he used to attack all the incoming ships. And he used to attack literally all of them, including the ships sent by Europa's father. Right, so yeah, that's a bad AI. If you have in place an AI which attacks everyone, that's bad. And after a very mutual, birth of all, like both the technologies, we came to semantic networks. Semantic networks was the first time that anyone acknowledged that these two fields could be linked together. Yeah, so I picked this up from a previous speaker. So there's something which has something, which is something, and lives in something or whatever. So any guesses? Yeah. Fine, let's break the suspense. So this is a semantic network in which you have these relationships, right, between objects and instances of that particular class or objects. So all these things, they came forward and became a network in which knowledge was being represented, right? This is a format of representing knowledge. This was the first time we came across this. And then we came to ELIZA. Any guesses what ELIZA might be? There's another term here, ARPANET. So you can think of how back we are talking about right now. The internet was not yet born. It was called ARPANET. That was in 1965, right? And ELIZA was a chatbot. Chatbot use case of which one? Siri. How many people Siri? Rich people. Cortana. Pirated Windows. They such बोल रहा हूँ. Anyway, Google Assistant, Android World, right? This was the first chat which ELIZA had. I'm not sure if you guys are able to read it. And ELIZA says, "Is something troubling you?" To which the reply is, "Men are all alike." Can't argue that. ELIZA, what is the connection, do you suppose? And you say that they're always bugging us about something or the other. ELIZA, can you think of a specific example? Well, my boyfriend made me come here. ELIZA is acting to be a doctor, right? Who is trying to provide some psychological assistance to the person who is chatting with her. And you have used these kind of apps, right? Almost everyone here who has tried out a chatbot other than Siri or Google Assistant, you might have come across these apps or chatbots which allow you to, talk about medical things. There are apps today which say that you talk to their AI and they will determine which level of psychologist you require, right? Go home and try that. Fine. So this is how chatbots started, and they had a very bad design. And we are more used to seeing chatbots in this format today, right? All of us has seen this interface of chatbots. No one has done it in terminal, which used to be earlier. But what this tells us is that this was an AI which was running on the precursor of internet, and people were using it like a toy. So people had started playing with AI over the internet even before internet was formally known as internet, right? That's how long back we started, taking benefits or enjoying AI on network. I'll call it a network. I won't call it internet right now. And then came along Stanford Sumek's AIM. So Sumek's AIM was a experiment, right? It was a 19-year long experiment in which there were systems set up when the ARPANET was still known as ARPANET. There wasn't internet. At that time, they set up these systems which used to contain data, right? There were a lot of systems. The US libraries used to have all this data. And then there was one system which used to mine this data and take out information about biological or medical records. And it used those records to come up with prescriptions or maybe suggestions for doctors. This was the first use of AI in medical background as well. And along with that, it was the first use of AI on a network trying to access resources to gain information and produce some output out of it, right? So what do we see here? This was the first time someone did what we are doing today, downloading datasets. This was an experiment back in 1973. We are still doing that. So if you look at this particular diagram here, you will see that there's Sumex, there's the ARPANET, and there's the TIMNET and TIMNET access points, remote users, ARPANET access points. So this was the entire diagram, and Sumex was deriving information from all the available sources at that time. And then came the semantic web roadmap by Tim Berners-Lee. Who is Tim Berners-Lee?
Founder of www.
Founder of internet, founder of www, in fact. So, yeah, this particular one article which he wrote, it's that important that it's available on the Wikipedia as a separate article, right? I'm not sure how many people get the IIT Garia reference here. So this is what he said, that all the information on the internet should be present in a way that it's not only focused for humans, it's also focused for machines to be reading it, right? Before this particular roadmap, or before the realization of this roadmap, whatever we were putting on the internet, like we were putting nice designs, we were putting nice graphics, right? So whatever we put down there, we thought that a human is going to see this. That was the psychology. We believed that a human is going to see this, we are going to please humans with this. But no, there were bots out there which were trying to access or trying to mine out information from whatever they were seeing on the screen. Bots can't see, bots just read the code, right? So we needed to develop a mindset that we are also going to create content such that it is easily accessible by machines. And that's where I'd like to talk briefly about the header tags which Herschel mentioned initially. If you are not using those header tags in the proper way, then the document is going to be mixed up and you are going to come out with weird results. I'll give you an example here. To create a link in an HTML page, how do you create a link? Anyone? How do you create a link, a simple link? A tag, right? There's also another method using JavaScript. You can have a divide, you can click on it, and window.navigator.url, right? There's another method using JavaScript. If I put both these buttons on the same page of HTML and a scroller comes to it, which link do you think is going to show up on the search results? There are search results. If you search for Naukri.com right now, you will get Naukri.com, and below that you will get 4 or 5 links from Naukri, right? Do you think the JavaScript button will show up there? The answer is no. If you don't use tags in the proper way, machines which are trying to produce intelligent output are not going to get the input correctly, right? So your website fails there as well. So the semantic web roadmap, right? I just showed you a very elemental piece of the entire graph. And when we plot it entirely, this is something which we get. The internet is connected in this manner, right? The bigger blogs that you see, there's Facebook, there's Google, YouTube, there's Yahoo on the side, there's live.com. So these bigger blogs, that they are how they connect to different websites. All the dots that you see on this screen, they are all websites, right? And when we started making connections between websites using the data thing, this is what we got. You can actually check out this graph on that website, bit.ly/idgraph. And after that, the rise of the crawlers, which happened very recently when we got introduced to search engines. There were crawlers all over, right? Not this kind of crawler, this kind of crawler. A crawler which goes to websites and collects all the media information from that particular page. Now, when a crawler is coming to your website, how do you want to greet it? Do you want to greet it with garbage so that it takes back garbage? Or do you want to greet it with structured content? Structured content, right? So, websites began to be designed in such a way that they are accessible to crawlers. They are easily accessible to crawlers. People started changing their way of building websites just because they wanted these crawlers to come here and get meaningful information. So here we see a very clear impact that AI had on web. People entirely started, changing the pattern in which they were making websites. Now they are creating websites not just for humans, but also for machines. And then came the OWL, or the Web Ontology Language. These are actually slightly different things, but they are usually going together. So what this language says is that there are methods of representing knowledge in such a way that the word, a single word, can be connected to what it means. Now, if I tell you, I went to the market and bought an apple, what do you think I bought? How much did it cost approximately?
100 rupees.
5 rupees, 10 rupees, or 50,000? The amount is actually differentiating the products, right? So when I say I bought an apple, I also need to provide some meta information about what that apple was. It could be an Apple product from a company, or it could be something which I just had on the way back home, right? So to do this, we needed ontology to represent the nature of each word, what it represents, what it means. Because when the crawler goes to a website and reads the word apple, it needs to understand whether it's something to be eaten or whether it's something to be used, right? And finally, coming to how we use web and AI today, assistance, ads, and security. You find these on almost each website. irctc.co.in, Konhola recently. When you open it, on the right-hand side corner, there's a chat box that opens up, right? And you can actually ask your questions there and answers you. So that's an assistant, very much like this. Jarvis was an assistant. And then ads like this. How many of you saw this thing? Customers who bought this also bought this, right? It's everywhere on the internet. On the internet, you will find it in abundance. You go to any blog website and there's just ads all over. You have to find the content. Where's the content? And finally, security. AI is being used for security every day. If you open your Google account from, say, China after 1 hour, what do you think will happen? Will you be logged in easily? You will be logged out. And it will ask you for verification because your activity appears to be, suspicious. That word suspicious is actually telling that you are not maintaining your regular behavior. What is a regular behavior? How does the computer know what is your regular behavior? Isn't that a vague term? So they are using AI to determine that this is the pattern for this person to log in or use the services that we provide. Right? Whenever you break that pattern, the AI will flag you as abnormal activity and it will mark you suspicious. That's how security is coming into play. And finally, I'll have this last heading. Looking ahead. How are we looking ahead at this web and AI relationship? So I'll make one prediction. Publicly available data dumps, massive to the size of being comparable to what Google has, will be available to people for download in the future. Not much, maybe 5 years back, 5 years down the line. How many people believe this is like something which could happen? Large data sets will be available. Not many? Raise your hand high, I can't really see this. Great. That's what the web will do for AI. Like people will put a lot of information out there on the web for AI to consume. Now what will AI do for a web at the same time? Bots trained on such data, the data which I talked about. Bots trained on such data which will be able to find new patterns across dissimilar domains. What am I pointing to? When there's a lot of information about the world in which we live in, the machines will be able to get ahead of us in determining patterns between different domains which we may have thought are not connected. Is this possible? Raise your hand high. So I'm still carrying a small wagon with me in the future. The second prediction, what web will do for AI is that network log streams, whatever network logs that we create on the systems, will be ready for predictions. Right now the logs that we are creating, they are all into log files, and they are really like long text with lots of equal to's plus weird symbols, right? But what I'm saying is after some time, after 5 years down the line, these log streams will all be in a format such that an AI script can pick it up and use it directly. Is it possible? Very few people believe in me. I need more followers. Okay, and AI for web. What will AI do for web at the same time? Internet-based antiviruses for physical and virtual devices. What do I mean by physical and virtual devices? An internet-based antivirus. Kabhi socha internet-based antivirus? You don't have to install an antivirus on your system, and you are being protected. Kabhi hua hai? No? Anyone saying yes? Where?
Email sometimes not on security.
Exactly. When you get an email, sometimes you see this secured by this Symantec or whatever. What is that? It's a virtual protection layer, right? It's protecting your device virtually. It's existing somewhere on the internet. That's what happened. That's what's going to happen in the future. All the offline antiviruses that you download and install on your systems, be prepared to see them go away. How many people believe this will happen? A lot of you. Thank you. Again, more followers. Twitter pe bhi kar rahe hain. The final prediction, browser cookies will be depreciated. How many people know what cookies are? Few of you, but you click yes on every website you go. Sab pe agree to cookies, yes. Pata bhi nahi hai. Anyway, browser cookies will be depreciated, and sessions shall be used within inline AI models. What do I mean by this? Inline AI models. Right now the way we implement security on the internet is that there are models sitting out somewhere separately, but they are not, inline. They don't execute within that particular script. In future, we are looking forward to having these scripts, these AI scripts executed within the natural flow of the language. There could be something like validate user function in Python or Django, whatever you do. There could be one function which is actually based on a neural network. Who knows? And the final prediction is that auto-logging into web applications with weaker security systems by faking cookies and sessions. Auto-logging into systems. Is that possible? Auto-logging. Right? That is definitely possible, because if you are using a weak password today, you probably have it already exposed, and there are bots which are going to crawl on that, who are going to learn on that, and who are going to determine that this person uses these kind of passwords. right? So if you are using weak passwords today, bad news. There are machines out there which are going to break it, and you're going to be in trouble. So that's all from me, and I have overshot my time a lot, so I'll be taking probably just one question. Anyone? Questions? Yes.
In the last slide, you said that cookies will be depreciated, but cookies are also used for like storing the keys and everything, right? So what about that? Like how is the way around for the key storage and everything?
So cookies, in the past, in the recent past, in fact, cookies were used for making the authentications happen, right? After a person comes back after a long time, to facilitate that, it was being used heavily. Then came sessions, right? People are not preferring to use cookies for putting personal information, and I believe in the future they will just be there for dummy some stuff kept, not at all personal information.
They store the cryptographic keys, no, right? But the master keys and everything. So what about that?
Cookies are very much visible and can be edited. You can edit any cookie at any point of time. And so guys, that's all from me. If you want to contact me or want to find me, this is what the options that you have. So guys, thank you. Thanks for being a lovely audience.